this is my cultural artifact speech. Have you ever had to pick a huge wedgie in front of a large audience? Well, that's happened to me probably before every track meet. These are my spikes that I use to run track and field, and they're significant because every runner needs to wear them in order to compete in the race. They're called spikes because they actually have little spikes on the bottom to keep your grip on the track. I've been running track and field since I was a sophomore in high school, and over the years I've accumulated over 40 medals, been offered at least 3 scholarships, and was 1 race away from state my second year of running. Now, in case you're unfamiliar with this culture, that's pretty above average for someone who's so new to the sport. The information you'll receive about the significance of spikes in the track and field culture will hopefully provide a better understanding and liking to the culture as a whole. First, I'll be discussing what spikes represent, and following that, I'll be elaborating on why I believe I identify with this culture. So, track is a culture of individuals who strive to win. It's not for a team like other sports. It's not for a championship trophy. It's more so for yourself, for medals, and ultimately for the title of being the best. There's many different aspects to track and field. First, you have the runners, which could be either distance or sprinters. Then you have the jumpers, which could be either high jump or long jump. And finally, you have the field events, which could be either shot put or discus. The reason track is such a unique sport is because it's individual. Everything you do is on you. If you lose, you can't blame anybody else but yourself. You can't blame your teammates or a coach or whatever, because you're the only one out there running on the track at that time period. And you're the only one putting in the effort during practice to either get better or get worse and prepare yourself for the race, basically. But on the contrary, if you win, that's on you as well. You receive all the medals and all the appraisal, and you receive all the glory. These spikes represent freedom in flight. Freedom in the sense that as soon as I lace them up and I set my feet in the starting blocks and I'm about to take off, I feel like a rush come over me. And as soon as the gun sounds and I'm down the lane, I feel free and unattached from anything else in this world. And the only thing running through my mind is beating my opponents, and the only thing running through my veins is adrenaline. They represent flight, not in a literal sense, of course, but in the sense that when you're running down the lane, you're essentially flying. Your feet are moving 100 miles per hour, and it's almost unstoppable. The impact these spikes have on the track and field culture, like I said, everybody has to wear them. Whether you're running distance or you're sprinting, or whether you're in a relay or an individual race, you must wear them. It's just like soccer with cleats and football with pads. Now that I've discussed how my artifact relates to this culture, I will explain how I identify with this culture. I believe I identify with this culture because I've received more awards and recognition and even sponsors than most people my age who have been running their whole lives. That's not to say that I'm better than anyone, because I don't think that I'm better than anyone, but it just makes me feel part of the culture because I've had to work that much harder to achieve so much in such a short period of time. Another reason I believe I identify with this culture is because I know so much about the culture and every aspect of it. Every race, every rule, every position, you can ask me and I would tell you. I'm not only a participant of the sport, but also a spectator and a student of the sport. And even though I'm not currently running this year, I still go to track meets and just to watch and enjoy. These spikes mean everything to me. They mean freedom, as I've mentioned a few times, and they mean glory because I've worn them in every race that I've won. And they also represent a sense of companionship because I've relied on them to get me to the finish line in every race. My track career would not be possible without these spikes. And even though, like I said, I'm not running this year, I still lace them up at times and go find a track somewhere and run just to feel that feeling that I felt during every race, which was freedom. Overall, the significance of spikes in the track and field culture should have provided understanding of the culture as a whole. Now that I've explained the culture, my artifacts, its significance in the culture, and why I identify with it, I hope you're more educated and fond of track and field. Track is not just a sport, but it's a sport of self-reliance and self-motivation. And these spikes are not just shoes that everyone has to wear to run a race, but they represent freedom, glory, and companionship. Thank you.